It's time for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Join your host, the accomplished Dr. Cherilyn Lee, as she welcomes the leading experts in health and well-being as they explore the advancements in natural health, physical fitness, nutrition, integrative medicine, and self-discovery.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in today to another wonderful episode. I am so excited. This is 2018. What a blessing. This is my first show, and actually this is my anniversary here at UBN, so I am excited today. I'm doing something a little differently today. The one thing I do want to say that New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee, we have a new theme for 2018. And our new theme is wellness, love, and sex. So I will be covering issues, and I will be bringing on guests throughout the year as we turn into another dimension of looking at wellness, sex, and love. Because without the three together, you don't heal. You really don't. We know even babies failure to thrive from not being loved. So it's not all about just the sex. And sex is not just, two people are coming together, and it's much more to sex, especially when there's illnesses. And people need to be more understanding when a person do have an illness. Maybe things have been depleted because of an illness. So today's topic is, what is erectile dysfunction? And the reason why I chose that topic at the top of the year, for several reasons. One of my father, and we'll get into that because of things happening with him, and he ended up losing his life. I want everyone to really get ready and get a pen and paper, because I'm going to be giving you some tips for the men and women who have, or your significant other. You can also do this real simple test yourself to find out what is going on. Your feet has a lot to do with erectile dysfunction too. So there's some pointers I'm going to give you on how you can, certain things you can examine on your own feet to know what's going on as it relates. But we will be discovering quite a bit. So erectile dysfunction, what is that? Dysfunction is the inability to obtain or maintain a penile erection sufficiently enough to satisfy your sexual performance. Everybody kind of knows the definition by now. But, it's so much more to it that I want to cover that we don't really hear a lot of mainstream when it deals with it. I've been working in this field and seeing patients for over 35 years. And I noticed that in dealing with health, if we don't cover some other things, and people don't, in hospitals, so I worked hospitals in the past as a practitioner, we don't cover a lot of the history, which is so important, in asking about a person's sexual life, which is very important to have a healthy life in general. So a lot of things will be covered today. So what causes ED? We know that there's psychological, there's neurological problems, there's vascular problems, drug-associated, medication-associated, endocrine, and hormones. They can really cause you problems with ED. So we will be discussing some of those, and that was my problem with the medication was mainly my father. He decided not to take one of his meds because it robbed him of his manhood. And so that's why he ended up having a massive heart attack and no longer with us. So, and I find in working clinics and with people, I see that a lot. People will stop certain hypertensive meds and different things because of that reason. So when we look at the physiological problem of ED, stress is one. We know anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, conflict with your partner, money issues, death, and guilt. And going back with stress, when we look at stress, we got to really, really pay very close attention. And each one of these, there's certain lab work that's so important that a person need to know. So on the psychological, when we look at stress and anxiety, depression, you have certain hormones and your cortisol levels and different things you want to pay very close attention to, because those things can actually lead to cancer, heart disease, and everything else. So we want to know. I tell people always, you can go to lifeextension.com. You don't need a prescription or a doctor's requisition in order to order your lab. You can actually do some of these things yourself. We want to be as proactive as possible with our health right now because there's so much happening that we just don't even know why they're happening right now. So it's so important the things you can do, please take the time to do it. So a lot of times what are psychological and men having very low self-esteem because of the relationships. So we're going to get a little bit more into that as well. As money issues is definitely a one with a lot of people in relationships, how it affects their sexual life with ED. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Neurological effect, as we know, diabetes, neuropathy. And when you have diabetes, and I tell everybody, as you see on the screen there, that meter, there's certain things you can start buying yourself from your closest. You can order actually those meters on the internet as well. It'll probably be a little, save yourself some money. Because when you're under stress, a lot of people don't realize, saying my blood sugar was good this morning, but I went to work, had a really stressful, meeting or something happened or a stressful situation that's happened in the home. Well, all of these things can cause your blood sugar to rise. So you want to know what's going on there. With diabetes neuropathy, common cause of ED because of the nerve endings being damaged. So it's really bad. Patients who have had a stroke has really a lot of problems with ED. So we want to really look into all of the aspects. MS, and there's men who definitely have had MS. So it's really important to know that. I had a patient years ago who had a car accident, had a spinal cord injury, and didn't know that that was the reason why he had a problem with erectile dysfunction. He never would discuss that. And that's a lot of problems that men have sometimes, is not opening up and talking to their doctor. So you really have to talk to your practitioner about your health, what's going on. And when you let them know, there are even questionnaires on ED. You could probably find them online too. So you be honest with yourself so that you can get help. Because there is a lot of methods and a lot of great things out here depending on your health, concerns. So we can put it together for you as well at New Wellness Healthcare. So neurological effect. There's vascular problems when there's not proper circulation to the penis itself. And as we know, there's a lot of equipment and different things, devices you can use to help in that area. But the lack of blood supply in that area and going to the arteries can definitely cause a problem. And this is where I want to kind of talk with blood supply. We want to know what's going on. And I will be going over some things. Like I said, please get a pen and paper, very simple tests of your feet to see what's going on with your vascular circulation as well. Secondly, drugs that affect ED, and there's numerous of them, and that's your diuretics, and a lot of people on diuretics because of high blood pressure. Your antihypertensive meds are number one. That's why my father stopped taking his, because he saw that it was decreasing his manhood, and the reason why he isn't here. A lot of people take a lot of antihistamines, especially during this time of year with all the allergies. And then they wonder why my sex drive is low, not knowing it's the antihistamine that they're taking. And keep in mind, there's so many great natural things as well. You don't really have to take a lot of different medications. Depression, there's a lot of medication that people are taking for depression that really cause a decrease in your libido. Parkinson's disease or Parkinson's medication, tranquilizers, muscle relaxants. And my goodness, here lately there's been so many people on muscle relaxants because of injuries and car accidents. It's just been a lot happening these last few months with people that I know. And then they give them a cocktail of these muscle relaxants, which is becomes a problem. What I'm seeing right now is decreased libido, which is so needed when a person has cancer and they're on chemotherapy. They really, because the chemotherapy medications can also deplete one's libido. So it's really important that your sex life is so important when you have cancer. it is a great way of healing that love and that relationship, and loving that mate, number one, before we even get to the other is so important. But, you know, just being there with that person. Sometimes it's not all about the physical. It's just being there. At this point, I'd like to just share a patient that I had years ago, a situation where the lady had sustained a gunshot wound to the back of the neck. She was on the East Coast, and her husband, very, very loving person. I had met her like 2 years into her condition where she was a paraplegic. And to see the love between these two people, when we get married, or a person get married, you want to love that person unconditionally. But I had never seen such unconditional love between a man, a husband and wife, where he would come home at night and said, I just need to just touch her hand. And then I'm so happy, just the physical touch. And he would sit there all night and she would just smile, just like a teenager on her first date, just happy. So if you don't have that prior to an accident, you don't have anything. That's what I would think. You have to have love. So, you know, and then again, back with people on chemotherapy and accidents, you know, have that in your relationship. Know that you have it. We're going to get more into that as well. But men with prostate cancer, or not so much the cancer, men who are on prostate medications will also decrease one's libido, and also decreased ejaculation. So you have decreased ejaculations will also interfere with the men's prostate too. So the more you have, they're finding through research, the less problems you have with prostate cancer, or you heal a lot faster. And also another medication or a group of medication that would definitely decrease your libido is anti-seizure medications. And there's been so many people diagnosed with seizures. It's, you know, I was actually speaking with a lady who didn't even realize she was having seizures. She just kind of blacked out for a minute. I was looking at her lips and they kind of turned a little purple. And then I had her to go and, you know, be followed up by her doctor. After asking her, do you sometimes lose a little time in your life? She said, you know, there's times I am talking to people or just doing something, I did lose time. I also had another patient who, she loved sports. And she will be watching a game. And she said, you know what, I don't remember that game ending. My bed was all in disarray, and I found I had urinated on myself. She was a single lady living by herself and didn't even know she had seizures. So try to be a little aware, too, what's going on with yourself. And I have told people in the past, too, it's really good sometimes to take a tape recorder. Now you don't find too many tape recorders, but if you could put it on low, I think you can purchase a little small ones. Put it on low and put it next to your bed, not electrical, so it's not a Wi-Fi or anything, but just hear your own breathing patterns, because a lot of people don't know they even have sleep apnea. So, you know, kind of listen to what's going on with you as you sleep, because a lot of times you don't have a significant other there to tell you these things. I had one patient, it was quite odd. He was sleepwalking, but not only sleepwalking, he was sleep eating. And all the medication they kept giving him for his condition, because they didn't know he was sleep eating, he would just call me at 3 or 4 in the morning and say he was choking, because as he would eat, he was not drinking any water. So the food was kind of just sitting there. Luckily, his fiance had a chance to tell me. She saw him get up in the middle of the night and walk into the wall, and she kind of followed him and found out this is what was going on. But he would have never known that if he did not have someone there with him. So try to be a little bit more proactive and have maybe a tape recorder there yourself to just kind of listen to what's going on with yourself as you're sleeping at night. They do wonderful sleep studies, but this is something you can do quickly yourself without spending any additional money or going through your insurance company, just to hear the sound that you sleep. Okay, so I'm going to kind of stop right there because I want to introduce someone I do have in the studio with me. And since I've gone so far, I want to see if Johnathan, Carlson, if you have any questions.
Well, thank you for having me. The one thing I would probably say is my dad does take blood pressure medicine. Never talked to my dad about this situation before.
Okay.
But I'm assuming, just taking blood pressure medicine, having heart problems, things like that, in the family, I'm assuming when I get older, I may fall in that same situation. So, the doctor's always telling me, hey, exercise, things like that, of course. What are the symptoms of, like, if you start seeing that, or if I get into that situation, what are things you can do to subside it?
Okay. Well, since you asked me that question, I'm going to tell everybody now about this test that you can do yourself. And this is the penile blood pressure, not artery, but pulse that you're going to check in your foot. So what you do is you, between your big toe and the little, you can run your 2 fingers and go all the way kind of up the side there and feel the pulse. Do not press down real hard, just very lightly. Now, if that pulse is not strong or you don't feel it, that means you don't have good cardiovascular circulation. If you're not getting good circulation in your feet, you're definitely not getting in the midstream area. So in the pelvic, you're not going to have good circulation. Also, if you have... and that's also a good way to pick up and see if you have atherosclerosis, some hardening of the arteries. But there's some tests that I really recommend that you have, especially when there's a family history. I know I had a family history, so there's certain things I watch. You want to make sure the abdomen is not enlarged because of hormone imbalance can happen there, with estrogen being a little higher. A lot of times doctors want to put everybody on testosterone to kind of help, but the estrogen is really not good because that leads to all other type of complications as well. But mainly making sure you're cardiovascular. At New Wellness, we also provide cardiovascular screening at home, a concierge service, which is really wonderful. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
That's awesome.
But make sure, and like I said, again, we have to be proactive. So you can order this test through me. I'd send the tech to your house to do your test to see your vascular, and do the vascular test as well. Because if I would see that the pulse in your feet are very weak or you can't even find it, then I would say you would need to have peripheral vascular studies done just to see, or send you to a vascular specialist, cardiology. If you have problems with ED, almost 100% you're going to have problems with heart and cardiovascular. So that's one reason why I'm doing this show today. I want to try to help save as many people as possible without going through this. So an EKG, see what's going on, and get a routine baseline. Don't wait until you have symptoms. If you have a family history, I would want to see all of your hormone testing done, your cholesterol, a lipid panel done, cholesterol, triglyceride. You want to look at your male hormones too, your testosterone, your estrogen, and see where that is for men as well. Your DHEA, because a lot of times people just start taking DHEA without really thoroughly, doing a good workup. So
if
those
you don't
are
mind
things.
me asking, DHEA, what is?
It's a hormone.
Okay.
It's a hormone, and you can actually buy it in a liquid form or tablet form. A lot of times people will take it.
Okay.
But a lot of times we want to just make sure that these type of hormones are not, if we're deficient, instead of giving out a recommendation. There's a lot of products. There's one procedure that I think is pretty cool for ED because it does not require any medication.
That's always
Actually,
nice.
it's called PRP, protein-rich plasma. And protein-rich plasma, if a person have it, they just take your own blood and they spin it. And from there, they can inject the plasma. Some doctors will add a little something to it. Some use lidocaine. Some use a homeopathic product. But it's all natural. And they just put it near the circulation or around the head of the surface of the penis. And that helps. And you go into the doctor about every 4 to 6 months with certain cases. And it's pretty safe. So this is your own plasma. It's called the P shot. P as in Paul. Yeah. And they didn't leave women out, so they have one for women too called the O. But it's called the P shot. So those are some natural things. Exercise is always good. We'll get into that. But first of all, I would have, because I have a family history as well, and with men is higher because over 50% of men over the age of 30 are having problems with ED. I mean, that's a high percentage. That's millions of men.
Yeah.
And in most cases, they won't talk about it. You know, they don't want to talk about it to their practitioner. I can tell when an older gentleman come in, and because he talks real slow and he drops his head, and then I said, "Okay, tell me some other things. What's going on?" You know, so it's really important that you or including myself, we make sure we rule out all these things, especially our hormones, and make sure everything's balanced properly. Checking your blood sugar, hemoglobin A1C. Is what
Okay.
you want to know. Hemoglobin A1C, so you know you're not going into diabetes. There's something called functional medicine and functional lab testing. So when it's functional lab testing, this is, where you are and how we function, not based on the scale medically what we see. And I was taught in school to say, your hemoglobin, because I had a lady come in and she said, "Oh, my hemoglobin A1C is 7.0, and my doctor says I'm pre-diabetic." You don't want to be over 5.0. Anything over 5.0, you're really diabetic. You want to take care of that now. And there's so many ways you can do that, especially type 2, before you start having decreased vision problems, peripheral neuropathy, tingling in your feet and hands. And then, again, we go back with ED. So if you have ED, you have to check everything out thoroughly, because that is a sign that there's something going on in the body. That's a sign. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. That was a great question. Thank you. Thought I was going to talk to myself the whole time. Thank you.
No
But
problem.
your reason for being here is totally different. I kind of pulled you and put you on the spot today, and I thank you so much, Johnathan,
No problem.
for being here. I truly do. So, again, in looking at the hormones and checking everything out is really important. So now that we know the cause, and then I have given you a little solutions, some solutions to take as far as there are certain surgeries. But when we look at identifying the cause is what's really important. So if we know it's stress, then we want to start doing something about stress. And questions you ask yourself. Is my diabetes under control, which we just spoke about. Mm-hmm. So knowing your hemoglobin A1C is really important. Another reason, and it could be no medical problems whatsoever, you're just not attracted to your mate anymore.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you're not attracted to your mate, you're going to have a performance problem. If that person is putting you down and not being loving, and I've seen that so often. I had a patient in my office, and the husband came in like 3 visits. She finally came in, the wife, and I said, no wonder he has a problem, because she said, "I don't know why I'm here. He'll never get that up again." I said, well, making a statement like that is very painful and very cruel. You have to be very loving and be patient. You don't know if a person's having an illness problem. You don't know if it's stress related from work. Not everybody always open up and share everything. So be very loving and communicate with the partner. Sometimes your partner has really unrealistic sex goals. Hanging from chandeliers. No, I'm just kidding. But they could be very unrealistic. I always tell people in relationships, be authentic on what you like and don't like. Be very authentic, because that's so important, that once you do that and tell a person, well, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and so you don't go into a relationship knowing that this person maybe likes something and you just don't. And then you try to fake it because you want to be within the relationship.
Yep.
And then later it's like you lose interest. And I've seen that happen too. I've seen people change religious beliefs. They were once had a different religious belief and went into another, and in that area they didn't believe in oral sex. They didn't believe this. They didn't believe in that. So you want to know and ask questions initially if you can. That's why it's good to really have a partner that you care about. And not just care about someone that you love. and not just a hit and miss. If you're going to do that, then, if you have performance problem, that could be one of the reasons. So it's really important that, you set realistic expectations and let the partner know that too. But in most cases, just be honest with the person. I don't like the way you do this. I don't like the way you do that. We're going to do it after hours. So when you tell people who you are and what you're going to be doing for me, we're going to do it after hours live show to really help people. Came up with something years ago on positions with people so they can say, I had a very, very dear friend who her husband told her that the body can only take 2 positions. That's it.
Yeah.
So she went through a 45-year marriage with just 2 positions until one day we had a talk, because I talk openly to my patients so they can express things. Plus, she said, I've never had an orgasm. It's like, what is that? And you have 3 or 4 children. So that's not uncommon.
Wow.
People need to talk and express what's going on with them. And I am writing a book on the whole thing because I think there should be a system set up where a person can feel comfortable with that person so they can go through, I like this, don't like that.
Oh, of course.
And I haven't found one that I like, so I'm just going to develop myself. Because a lot of things I learned, even myself, after I got married very young, so I was 18. So a lot of things I didn't know. And down the line, you're married and think, oh, this is the norm. And it really wasn't. So I'm not going to go into my detail. That'll be our after-hours show.
Yeah.
But it happened to so many women, and I have spoke to so many of them. And different religions, not only religions, but people's different walk of life, too, because I've worked in just about every community. And I'm not going to mention the group of people, but I did a show on KFI radio years ago, and it was dealing with a product that I had. And I had a wonderful product for men with ED. And I told her, why don't you call in and let's talk about some things? She said, oh, no, we don't talk about that openly at all, period. And I was like, oh, my. That's, it's kind of sad. So a lot of people, depending on what country you're from, a lot of things are suppressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot are suppressed. So we want to be able to openly talk about what's going on, especially if you have a significant other and that's somebody you trust and you love. You should be able to be open in that relationship to tell them what you want and what you don't want.
Of course.
And so you always want to get the facts. The facts are so important because there's so much going on in medical conditions, and now you have a lot of the facts here that I've gone over, but it's so important that you know yourself. If you have questions, you can call me. I work very closely with a urologist, and I will refer my patients out to a urologist, a cardiologist. As we go through this journey, I believe we can do testing ourselves to see where we are, to get a baseline, and then you may need to be followed up with a cardiologist or urologist. It's very important. So, but basically, know the facts. Let's get the facts and get them straight here. And then step 2, we want to deal with lifestyle, because a lot of times, as I just discussed, a lot of things are not really lifestyle. But your lifestyle is really important. As you had mentioned about exercising, exercising is very important. One big lifestyle change is people getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting enough sleep. And try to set up a good sleep hygiene area, with not a lot of noise, no EMFs or your cell phone underneath your pillow. With men also with ED, not putting that cell phone in your pocket. We find a lot of testicular cancer from cell phones being in the back pocket. So you don't want to put your cell phones in your pocket. You don't want to put them anywhere near that area. A lot of people are wearing, what is that called, a fanny pack? Is it fanny pack?
Yeah.
It's like a little
pouch.
pouch, and they put their cell phones in there. So guess what's happening? It's right there near the bladder and everything. You don't want to do that. So keep those, and we say put them on airplane mode. So you don't end up with all this additional Wi-Fi. Exercise, your diet. You want to stay away from a lot of processed foods that are very important. because the processed foods can definitely cause problems. So changing that diet, exercising, having a great mental attitude, staying happy, meditating, all these things to do what's going to make you happy. And being with the right mate,
Yep.
which is important. So, again, I can't emphasize enough that you know how to check your fetal pulse. Now, I'd like to get in. We talked about exercise a little bit, and some of the warning signs of people when they really overtrain. Overtrain reduces your testosterone level in 1 to 4 days. And a lot of people don't know that. They get in, and especially the
No.
cyclists, too. You have to be very careful with all this repetition and overtraining. Now, training is good. When you don't overtrain, it's good. But overtraining also helps with the underlying, well, it definitely is going to decrease the testosterone. And then the recovery time of all that is even longer. Because I've had people injure themselves in gyms with heavy weights. One person did pass out, as you see on the graph there, from just overstimulating. You can't do it. So people if you are doing this, I would definitely test, my hormone. If you have any questions about that, you can give me a call. You can always go to Life Extension and do your free and total testosterone levels. And then, call if you want to set up an appointment to go, what is the difference between all these blood tests? And so you know what's going on yourself. We really have to be proactive to educate ourselves. So, and don't overtrain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can do moderate training, which will boost, and to know the difference. So you should deal with somebody who is an exercise physiologist, who would know these type of things. It's so important that you know exactly what you're doing when it comes to these type of situations with training. And as we spoke before, communicating with your partner, what you like and you don't like, and being honest and open. Being honest and open is so important. And I find so many people are just not, because a lot of women tell me things, but not just women, a lot of men tell me things too. So, be open and honest with your mate. Maybe you need a third person there so you can talk. And this is all part of your life, your journey, your well-being, to be happy. And that's what it's all about. We want to be happy on every level.
That's right.
And next time I'll staple these papers differently. And explore different ways with your partner. Again, exploring ways. We're going to do a nighttime show after hours. But exploring ways with your partner that's good for you and for them. And then even at that level, be honest. I like this. I don't like that. Be very honest when you're going to explore. And some people don't want to explore. You have to take into consideration, a person's past history. Just because it didn't work that well with that person doesn't mean that you're a failure and it not going to work with the next person. So that's why you want to really communicate and then try out things. We kind of hit a little bit on diet. Diet is so important. And I already went through this. Fried foods, you're going to definitely build up the cholesterol level with all the fried foods, refined sugars. Stay away from sodas and all the other, we know what happens with that. Artificial flavors and unhealthy fat. So we look at all the burgers. Yeah, it looks good, but you have, there are vegan burgers, and you can get now healthier bread and buns as well. And then one every now and then is not bad. So you can do a vegetarian burger. But your great oils and natural oils are really good. But most important, I would get a thorough physical examination, which we do at New Wellness. And also not only a thorough physical examination, but a person should get a thorough history as well. And not just a medical history, but also your nutritional history, your social history, everything. So a person can say, okay, let me formulate a comprehensive program for you that's going to help you to heal. And then also knowing your past history, which you shared with me about your dad, which is so important, because then that way we look at epigenetics. Mm-hmm. That might be your father's problem, like it was with mine, and he passed at age 65, which I'm there. But his father lived to be my grandfather, 100,
Oh, wow.
in good health. And he was diagnosed with prostate cancer in the 70s. I worked with him. He had a great quality of life, and he was happy.
And there's a happy word again.
He was happy. I can't say he was happy in the marriage to my grandmother, but he was overall a happy person.
Yeah.
He went for walks. He had a great diet. He always had fiber in his diet. A lot of great things he looked forward to doing and stayed happy. So find something that's going to be joyful for you, especially going into this new year. We talk about setting goals. I don't set goals because this should be something we do every day.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up every morning with my intent in prayer to help someone else, but be able to deliver something that's going to help other people. But mainly, I'm going to wake up and feel great.
Yeah.
So I tell myself that I'm going to wake up and bounce out of bed, feel great, full of energy, and this is going to be a wonderful, blessed day. Wonderful, blessed day.
That's awesome.
So we also want to stay away from foods that are high in soy and soy foods because it's like an estrogen-like property. Soy has like an estrogen-like property, and that could lead into some problems as well. So we really don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we concentrate on the amount of estrogen that's going in our body and don't have a lot, and lower the free and total testosterone. You want to make sure those levels are balanced. With everything in life, we would just want to have balance. So a plant-based diet is very good for ED. When I say plant-based, we want to go with the vegetables and fruit. I wouldn't go with a lot of sugary fruits like pineapples. Not a lot, even though there are good enzymes in pineapples. But try to balance everything out. Even with your diet, to balance out what you put in your body is very important. So, and then we want to always know what is good for your heart is also good for ED, for your erections. I like coenzyme Q10 because it's very good. I think people should always know what your coenzyme Q10 blood levels are too, especially if you have problems with ED. Or ED or heart problems, or definitely if you're taking a blood pressure med.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking blood pressure meds, you want to know all of your blood tests. You want to know what they are. It's in your inflammation markers, which is your C-reactive protein, your ferritin level. And if you go on the website, you can check some of that out. But those are some routine blood levels. Know what your vitamin D3 levels are, which is very important too. So we're finding that people who keep a vitamin D level of 60 and over, slightly over, their chances of developing cancers and problems are a lot less. So you don't have problems maybe with prostate cancer and these other cancers, heart disease. So we also know that people with low vitamin D levels, vitamin D hydroxy, we also have seen a lot of strokes for people. So it's a really good supplement to kind of have there, so it will help you with overall balancing of your body. And I kind of went into this before where it says love your partner, be kind, be loving and understanding through everything, which is so important. We kind of went through that already.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off the first of the year, I tell everybody, look at yourself in the mirror, undressed, and look at yourself from head to toe and tell yourself that you love yourself unconditionally. You love every inch of your body. That is your body, and you should love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself a nice hug. You don't have to have a significant other there to give you a hug in the morning. Hug yourself and say, I love you just the way you are. Start your day off very positive. And those things carry over into the rest of the day is for you too. Now, you're here for a reason.
Yes.
And I am so excited. So why don't you tell people who you are and what you do?
So my name is Johnathan Carlson with Evolution Solution Marketing. I am a text message, social media, website, and videographer business. We are here helping this station, Facebook, websites, everything that we're going to do with new wellness. We're going to give a makeover to the website. We're going to
yippee, yippee. We need it.
We're going to end up building with the YouTube station. We're going to help out with getting some text messaging and adding. We're going to try to get some callers. We're going to do a little bit more added within there. So we're going to do quite a bit. We're going to try to do a little bit at a time so we don't throw too much at everyone, but definitely going to take the website, and overhaul it. And then we're going to move into definitely the show and, some other opportunities there.
Yeah. So really, Johnathan was here at UBN Studio to have a meeting with me today.
Yeah.
Myself and Jarvis. And not knowing he was going to be a guest, and you really brought some valuable information to the show as well. I really appreciate it. So I am just really grateful for, your work. We are signing all our paperwork today to move forward. And you guys are going to see some changes, which are going to be really good. So keep in mind, New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee, our theme this year is wellness, love, and sex. Because without wellness, you can forget the rest. Without, and it don't have to be sex as we look at it a lot of times on the physical level, but love. In order to survive, it's one question that I ask my patients all the time. And I look them dead in their eyes and I ask them, number one, do you feel loved? It's very important for me to know that when I'm working with a person. Do you feel loved? And I like to see where their eyes go. Secondly is, do you love yourself? Do you love yourself? So I'm asking you right now who are listening, do you feel loved? And do you love yourself? Because we have to start off, too, by loving ourselves before others will love us as well. But I want to thank you for, Johnathan, for coming on board and helping us with this whole dynamic. We have some wonderful, interesting shows where I will be having other guests throughout 2018. Very exciting. So, but if you have any questions on ED, please don't hesitate to call me. There are a lot of options. I don't suggest products over the airs like this because I always want to know get a history of what medication you're taking and everything. So it's really important that I know what's going on there. So you were going to add something else there, Johnathan.
Yep. So essentially, we would love to make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And then also, if you have not liked us on Facebook, please like us there too. If you know anyone that would like the channel, please share us. We'd love any kind of listeners. We'd love comments. We love anything that you could add. We'd love, if you'd like to be on the show, definitely, write us. And we'd love to, look at you and talk to you.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. So I'm excited about where we're moving into. I know a couple people knew I was doing the show today on ED, and I was telling them about the PRP, which is phenomenal. So, if you have questions about it, please call me. I have several friends that are doing this procedure. I personally don't want to do it myself. I have been trained, but let me send you to a urologist to have this procedure done. And you'll be very happy with no side effects because it's your plasma, protein-rich plasma, the P shot. So take a look at it and you'll see. So there's a lot of places out there and there's some charging a lot of money. So it shouldn't cost a lot of money. It's your protein. It's your plasma. So
maybe what we could do is put a link down at the description and, when this is done, and maybe give them an easy way to look for it.
Okay. Oh. Especially the people who are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some a little better than others. So I'm really happy about that. So I want to tell everyone I want to reiterate, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I know it seemed like it's moved a little slow today. This was a long weekend. We just had all the holidays, and I was between two daughters, and I want to thank my daughter, Carlson, who wanted to change her mother's look for the new year. So thank you, sweetheart. You did a wonderful job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that I have daughters that are really, they watch their mom and say, Mom, you got to come up to speed a little bit and stop looking like an old lady all the time. So I'm really grateful that I have wonderful daughters. And I want to thank Siobhan, my youngest daughter, who is a nutritionist, who took her time, and she's pregnant right now. I'm about to have my number 10th grandchild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My number 10th grandchild. And she took the time to put together this PowerPoint. So thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you. And again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is only the beginning. And I'm so happy I have Johnathan on board at New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. So you're going to see some wonderful changes. And we have some great shows. I want to thank Jarvis, because he's absolutely phenomenal, as you see all this wonderful work that you've been seeing for a year, and those who have not tuned in. So thank you. And as I always end the show, there's something I want you to say. Repeat after me. I am so grateful that I am a magnet
for miracles.
And know that, really take that in and feel that for yourself. Know and be grateful. Grateful can open up so many doors for you, like it did for me meeting Johnathan over here. I was just grateful that I had Natasha Walker for a whole year, and now her schedule is so busy, and she's just been amazing with getting out the e-blast for me, and I want to thank her. She's just been amazing. And I just kept saying, I'm grateful I have her. And she let me know and gave me enough time that I'm going to, not going to be able to do this for next year. And look, the door opened up and I met you. So, I just want to thank you so much, Natasha. You are absolutely wonderful. So I want everyone to make sure you tune in next Wednesday. Please share this show with people. And again, remember, if you have decreased circulation in your feet, that you have decreased circulation in your pelvic area. You definitely have decreased circulation in your penis if you have decreased circulation in your feet. So take those things into consideration. Please, if you're having problems with ED, make sure that you check out your heart and your vascular system and your hormones. But make sure, because a lot of people, when I worked in the emergency room, who came in having a heart attack, they told, if the ones that made it through did say they also had ED as well. So please, 30 and up, this is happening, not just older people anymore. So, each one teach one, and share this with your family and friends. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Until we meet again, have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Join us every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Remember, healthy mind, healthy body.